Welcome to our show, Word This Week. Ladies and gentlemen, today our special guest is Captain Sanjay Prasher. Captain Prasher has become the voice of Indian seafarers. No matter where an Indian seafarer is, in which part of the world, if he needs help, he calls Captain Prasher. So this is why I say Captain Prasher has become the voice of Indian seafarers. And whenever Indian media or international media needs any comment on what is happening in shipping, they invite Captain Sanjay Prasher. And this is because of his sheer dedication to his work. Sir, welcome to our show, Word This Week.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
Sir, we have seen your press releases. We have also seen your activities on social media and the work that you have actually been doing. Please tell us, sir, how difficult it has been during the COVID-19 times to help the crew change. What all initiatives have you taken and the industry, how you have helped the industry?
Thank you, Captain Virendra Mishra. I've been reading the Shipping Tribune news daily, and that's my favorite email, what I get from you. Firstly, I want to thank the seafarers who, despite being, encouraged as with a statement, essential workers are actually feeling imprisoned at sea. So their work needs to be saluted. But I think if governments are little deaf, I think they need explosions to be hearing the right voices. So last 3 months have been very nasty for every country and for basically the whole world because of the coronavirus. So we have been fighting on this front. What is good? Let me just tell you that first. Then we will see what are the challenges. Yes, it has been a journey, and I'm staying in a village because I came here before the lockdown, just a day before. I thought it's going to be a small lockdown and I'll go back to Mumbai. So I'm working from Himachal. People have been very kind. At least I have some internet working, and I have an office here now. I have a computer table and all that. The good things is, firstly, we were allowed crew change in the seaports in India. And today, already as I talk in last 60 days, about very close to 20,000 seafarers have taken the advantage of that. Another 7,000 close are going to take advantage by end of this month by charter flights. These two things happen good. But what my worry is, this is just not sufficient. It is drop in the ocean. I think I'm myself running a shipping company, and my 50% of the crew is overdue for relief. I'm so thankful to them as well as their families. But can you imagine that we have now so many ministries involved in the repatriation of the seafarers that we find it is just a bundle of roadblocks. You got to talk to Ministry of Shipping, they go to Ministry of Home Affairs, they go to Ministry of External Affairs, then you got to have DGC here, then you got to have state, and then there are another set of authorities in that. So when you say you have to go to state, then there is approval of the respective particular municipality there, then there is a health officer there. So everybody is doing their job. But then we are all working from home. So we don't have that, luxury of reaching out to people and meeting people. That's the biggest damage coronavirus has done in the history of mankind. They have stressed up the people, and I think more than fighting the war against coronavirus, we are actually now fighting a war against stress related things in our life. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that thousands of seafarers, and there is not even one voice in many of the governments for them? Australia is doing great, but then embassies are shut off Australia and India. How do we send people? There are charter flights. How many people can you do in charter flights? So the challenges are huge. And I think world leaders have labeled us as travelers. Unfortunately, that has hurt us badly, and we are still reeling under that damage. Seafarers are people who move ships. It is so simple. You get iPhone because somebody has moved it on the ship. You get gas at home because somebody moved it on the ship. You export grains, so other country gets it because somebody is on the ship. That somebody is Mr. Invisible. So that's my challenge, to make it visible, because we don't want to be in the footnotes of the history. We don't want to be in the headlines also, but we want to be in certain lines which are accepted to the world.
So, in one of the recent articles, you had mentioned that many Indian seafarers may lose job if some arrangements are not made very urgently for their repatriation and also to connect the seafarers who are likely to join the ships in the coming weeks. Could you elaborate on that, sir?
Yes, there was a fear that we will lose jobs because we cannot go and take over ships in China. Yes, we will lose jobs because we cannot take over the normal crew change, which happens, and then you are replaced by other nationality. So that fear was true. It is the fear of everybody, even today. We took it up with Honorable Minister of Shipping, and it is because of redressal to this fear that today we have crew change possible via charter flights. So we have, in my opinion, taken over around 27 ships during lockdown period. But I think we could have taken over maybe 70. I do understand there is a limitation of Indian government to ask some country to start their embassy and issue visa and all that. It is not a fly-by-night thing which will happen. But I'm still thankful to the Indian government. At least we could take over around 27 ships. But this loss of jobs is not because Indians have got a problem with the performance. This loss of job is because other nationalities are ready to travel and the other countries are ready to accept them, and Indian government is yet to start international flights to make us ready to travel in a normal way. So Indian government thinks this normal way is going to take time, and I am still worried. Loss of jobs is reality. Probably we have reduced the losses to the jobs and we have retained the jobs. But certainly we have not been a big gainer in this. We are on the losing side as compared to Filipinos and Chinese.
So, what about the Indian ports? How well prepared they are to receive the Indian seafarers and to, make this plan successful for which you people have been fighting for quite some time?
बहुत बढ़िया. Brilliant. That's the one word I would like to use. And the SOP, what has been made for Indian ports, there is only one word: perfect. I am thankful to the government and DG Shipping and the port authorities, the port health officers. What a fabulous job they have done. I think in the history of India, we have never seen ships getting diverted to India for crew change. So we have done everything ideal and right as far as Indian ports are concerned. And I think we should salute every worker who is being there in the port. And this has been endorsed by thousands of seafarers. I don't say 100, thousands who have signed off. And in Mumbai port, 1,000 has signed off in one day. Can you believe this? So I think let's say a big thank you and give a big round of applause to the Indian ports. That's from
Sir,
all seafarers.
related to this, one more question, sir, and that is our main problem right now. I mean, the Indian seafarers is joining the vessels at foreign ports, and for which I have seen many of your articles and also your posts on Twitter. Am I right in the understanding?
Yeah, you are right. Actually, it's a very, very bad and horrible show. I think Indian seafarers or any seafarers, until and unless the 80 countries which are not allowing seafarers free flow, there is somebody who speaks for them, nothing is going to happen. So I think it is time for the Indian Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, to understand that the ships have to move, seafarers have to move, and he must put it on agenda. Until and unless our ministers of external affairs, shipping, home, including the group of ministers and the group of countries wherever we are members, whether it is G7 or whether it is SAARC countries or whether it is ASEAN countries, wherever we are members, I think this should be on agenda, and that's what I have been impressing upon. And I'm sure it will be, but when? That's the only question. Thank you.
Sir, you are also the chairman of IMF. So, in this context, I would like to ask you, are you going to approach other unions who are representing the seafarers in India and then they take this case, let's say, to the Honorable Minister and the Prime Minister?
We have already at International Maritime Federation taken this up. Our Vice Chairman Vivek Rastogi ji is in touch with the unions. Manoj Yadav from Forward Seamen Union has given us fantastic support. Nusi Abdul Ghani ji, as usual, always dynamic and very much ahead of this matter. Amar Singh Thakur from MUI has written numerous letters supporting this cause. So we are already in touch with them and things are working out good as far as the voice is concerned. But whether our voice and our noise is reaching the right ears and is it effective? My worry is on that front. Till now, it has not been effective.
Sir, thank you very much for your very valuable time at Shipping Tribune. We salute all our seafarer brothers and sisters, and we hope that all these issues which have been highlighted by you and IMF and other unions from the seafarers, our bodies, they will be heard, and very soon we will be able to see that all the seafarers are able to sign off and also join the vessels as needed. Thank you very much for your time, sir, and we wish you all the best.
It is my national duty to ensure that the crew change is smoothened up, and I will live up to that promise of mine to Mother Earth and to my seafarers. Jai Hind, Jai Navik.